So we're going to talk about Jake's remote collar, how to turn it on, what buttons to push, and everything like that. So how you turn his collar on. You want to make sure this is on before you put it on Jake, because if you try and turn it on once he's wearing it, it gets a little bit difficult. So there is a little red magnet key on the collar, and then there's also a little red magnet key on the remote. If you're looking at the remote, it is on the side with the single black button, okay? So you push the two together, you kind of touch them together, and the magnets connect, and then the collar turns on. So it'll flash green to let you know that it's on and charged. To turn it off, same exact way. Touch them together. Just a touch and a touch. So if you turn this on in the morning and you shut it off at night, it should last you 2 full days on a charge. It is rechargeable. The charging port is underneath here. The charger will come with your remote collar box as well. So we're gonna close that. Make sure that this is turned on, and we'll leave this to the side. To charge the remote, same idea. There will be a charger in your box and it will recharge it. This could probably last 3 to 5 days as long as you turn it off at night. To turn on the remote, on the back of the remote, you're going to see a big button with an L shaped. You're going to push and hold that down. Push and hold it, it turns the remote on. When you turn your remote on, it should look a lot like this. It should say 1D15M. That stands for dog number 1, which is what Jake is because he's a single dog unit, and 15 is the level of stimulation out of 100, so 15 is really not that intense. This back button here is also the light button, so if you just tap it instead of pushing and holding it, if you just tap it, you will activate the flashlight feature on Jake's remote. So this is helpful if you have him out at night and you want to be able to see where he is. Tap it, shuts it off, but the remote and the collar are both still on. So to turn the remote off, you push and hold this back button, push and hold it, and it shuts just the remote off. The collar is still on because we did not touch the magnets. Oh, I didn't push and hold it long enough. Push and hold it, it'll say off or OF. Now it's off. So if you accidentally tap it, you'll activate the flashlight. So just know that you have to push and hold it to shut it all the way off. So we're gonna turn this back on, push and hold it, turn it back on, level 15. So we're gonna talk about all the little buttons. This right here makes the collar, whether it's momentary or continuous, which means the stimulation, whether it's just a tap like that, so no matter how long I hold down the button, it's just a tap, or if you push and hold this little button, it'll change it to C, which is continuous, and if I hold down the button, it'll continuously stimulate Jake. We don't need that feature anymore, so that's why I have it set just to M. If you accidentally have C, all you do is push and hold this little button back here until you hear a beep. Now it says MC, push it again until you just see an M. Perfect. So it's back to just momentary. Now let's talk about the stimulation buttons. So when you're walking Jake, if he sees a squirrel or gets distracted and starts to walk ahead of you, you're going to say no and push the black button and tell him to heel. That's just an example. If he's on place and he gets off the bed, you're going to say no, push the button, place. If you call him to come to you and he decides he wants to sniff the grass instead, or he just kind of doesn't want to run to you, you can say no, press the black S button, stimulate. The red S button is a boost button. I use this personally with my dogs if there's something really intense that distracts them. So for example, one of my dogs is super distracted by motorcycles. So if I have him off leash in the front yard and I hear a motorcycle, I know that if I need to up the level from 15 to 30, I can just push this button. So the red button is plus 15, which is 30 total. So you're gonna stimulate him at 30. I have not needed to use this on Jake. It's just an option if you need it. Now, the other button over here, the T, that means vibrate. I know it says T, it stands for toner, but that means it's gonna vibrate. I use this in the car with him because he's not in a command in the car. I just don't want him getting up in the front seat. I don't want him, running around back and forth. So if he's getting a little rambunctious in the car, I just say no and push the vibrate to kind of give him a little warning, like, hey, don't do that. but your stimulation you're going to use with the commands that he's learned: heel, sit, place, door manners, recall, all of that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this right here. So this controls the stimulation intensity. Right now it's set at 15, it's locked. You can't accidentally turn it up or down. If you push down and hold it, it unlocks. So now you can turn it all the way down, all the way up. You can just mess with it. But we don't want to accidentally stimulate him on too high of a level or stimulate him on too low of a level. So it's important to put it at 15 and lock it in place. That way you don't have to worry about accidentally turning it up or turning it down. So that is all the features. Again, turning it off, turning it on, and then the back button right here is to turn it off and on. And then we're going to show you what his obedience looks like. Great.